The next thing I'd like to say is that when I was president, I appointed Dr. Mary Good to be the Undersecretary of Commerce for Technology. And she served on the President's Advisory Committee on Science and Technology, heading up what we did in information technology and in national security. And these are big issues today. President Obama has got to think about how many troops, if any more, to add to our effort in Afghanistan. But meanwhile, there are people you don't even know that are trying to figure out how to keep people from breaking into America's computer networks and shutting down all the banks or shutting down the power systems in whole sections of the country, or doing other things like that. This is really important. Our national security will depend upon having more and more people coming through the educational pipeline who can answer these how questions. We're trying to figure out how to contain any risks of chemical and biological warfare. We succeeded in signing a chemical weapons treaty that the Senate actually ratified when I was president, that I think will make the world a safer place. I'm very grateful to her and would come here even if I didn't love her and her whole family and feel indebted to them, just because of her service in the administration when we were just coming alive to the possibilities and the challenges that would be presented to us, both the economic possibilities and the security challenges through science and technology. And you should all be grateful to her for that. It's important that somebody in government actually knows something about the subjects in which they're dealing, and she did. And I felt better at knowing that she was there. So the final thing I'd like to say is that we really don't have any challenges today that are beyond our reach. But we have challenges today that are not easily digestible in a world that has attention deficit disorder when it comes to the news. That's really the fundamental problem we've got. I mean, and I'm Exhibit A, it's just that I got more time and experience so I can spend more time reading newspapers, but when I watch television, I'm your standard type A male. I watch movies and sports and news programs if I'm channel flipping and happen to find something that's interesting. The problems we have today are understandable and can be analyzed, but you can't just spit out a solution in a 20-second clip you get on the evening news. They don't fit very well in the 30-second political ad. And I notice the airwaves are full now of ads, you know, bashing or pushing our members of Congress to vote one way or the other on health care. Fundamental problem you got with health care is you can't figure out what to do unless you're prepared to think. Because it's a complicated issue, and issues that are complex are easy to misrepresent, and it's deeply personal to all of us, and anything that's personal is easy to spark fear. So it's easier to be a wrecker than a builder if you're living in an attention deficit disorder environment where everybody wants to digest whatever it is they happen to know, they need to know in 10 or 15 seconds and then get on to the next thing. And I say that because it's really worth all of you thinking about that. If you come here and you believe in the promise of engineering and you want people to come up with new technological fixes to all these challenges, if you think how long it takes for somebody to be able to do the thousands of heart surgeries my surgeon had done before he operated on me, which made it a walk in the park for him, otherwise you'd have somebody else speaking here tonight. It's important for us to realize that as citizens, whether we like it or not, for the next few years, we're all going to have to be more like that. Our base level of knowledge and our patience for debate and sorting through things and analyzing things is going to have to go up. So that if you revere the work that's done by this college, if you believe in it, it doesn't need to be something that's so distant from you that you think there's nothing that goes on there that shouldn't be incorporated into the way you think and the way you act as citizens. look, we got to find a solution to the healthcare thing because we're spotting our competitors $900 billion a year. Would you like to have the $900 billion a year to put it into science and technology and solutions? We got to find a way to solution the energy thing, because if 95% of the scientists are right, otherwise we're going to burn up our grandchildren's future. And if the 4 countries that beat their Kyoto targets are right, we're missing the economic boom that could lift Arkansas for the first time ever way beyond its traditional rankings just by being smarter about what we do with what's right before us. I'll give you another example. It's an analytical problem. The worst economic statistic most Americans don't know is that we dropped from 1st to 10th in the world in the percentage of our young adults with 4-year college degrees in this decade, after having been first from the end of World War II with the GI Bill through 2001. Part of that was that our competitors sent more of their kids to college, and they benefited from it. Mexico, which has been famous forever, since we got the Consul General here, I want to brag on it, for big levels of income inequality. And Latin America is still the most unequal of all of our continents between the very poor and the very rich. But there were 2 or 3 years in the middle of this decade where Mexico actually reduced inequalities in incomes because they led Latin America in the percentage of their young people that were getting 4-year college degrees. This is a very big deal. And yes, our competitors started educating more, but what happened is in state after state, the delivery system of higher education exploded in cost at a time when people's incomes didn't go up, and therefore enrollments went down. After inflation, college costs went up 75% in this decade. The only thing that increased by more was healthcare, 100%. And that presented us with a terrible problem. In California, because of their horrible budget problems, they just increased tuition 32% at their public schools, institutions of higher education. It was the finest system of public higher education ever created anywhere in the world, and it has nearly been bankrupted. Now, the good news is we got a reprieve. There are record numbers of young people now in 2-year institutions all across America because of the economy. They couldn't get jobs, so they decided to upgrade their skills. We need to figure out an affordable way to feed more of them in to the 4-year systems and get them at least a bachelor's degree. We've got to be able to do that. It's terribly important. There is nothing more important than that. And again, I think technology has some answers here. And I know that I'm so old I can still remember when UALR was Little Rock Junior College. That's how old I am. I hate it, but it's true. And I have watched this school grow, and I've watched it serve an urban population, and I watched it attract students from around America. Then I watched it attract students from around the world. It's been an immensely rewarding experience. But I think 50 years from now, when you look back, you may think that the establishment of the College of Engineering and Information Technology and the luring of this astonishing woman to this job may wind up being the most significant thing that the institution has done since its creation, because these are things that will shape the future not only of Central Arkansas and our state, but the entire nation. And I want you all to think about that when you go home. We all respect engineers. We all respect people who are great in technology. We all respect scientists. But we ought to respect them enough to try to think more like them and to realize that we're in a tight now with challenges that are easily overcomable. We can deal with all of them, but we have to do what Mary Good has been doing her entire life. Think. Thank you very much.